You're listening to Dude Check This Out, Episode 8.
Hello and welcome to Dude Check This Out. I am your hostess with the mostest, Kevin, and with me across the way is the host with the most. His name is...
My name is Noah, but why are you the hostess with the mostest?
You don't like hostess snacks?
I mean, I do, but like,
Yeah.
hostess is usually a title reserved for, people of the female persuasion.
It's 2017, no, I can be whatever I want.
Okay, sure, yeah, no, I'm not arguing that. Just,
Well, we can't have two hosts, right? We have to have a host and a hostess.
I mean, you can have like a co-host. You can have two co-hosts.
But then we both can't have the most. That's not how the most works.
Co-hosters with the mosters.
I like
Is that
co-hosters with the coasters.
Does that work?
I want to do that instead. All right, we're gonna start over.
Okay,
we're gonna start over.
Starting
Here
over the podcast. Here we go. I'm deleting that one, and we're starting a new one right now.
Hello and welcome to Dude Check This Out. And with you today is Noah and Kevin, and we are the hosters with the coasters. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
All of you listeners out there meeting for the first time. How you doing?
We're doing good. That's what the audience sounds
Yeah,
like.
of course. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. Thanks, audience. I appreciate that.
Welcome. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, it is. We are filming this in front of a live studio audience today.
That studio audience being that one guy with the really high voice.
He's just very far away. He's so far away. We're up on this large stage, and he's down he's in like the back. Like we ran out a huge stadium, and he got the nosebleed seats.
Yeah.
And he decided not to move closer, even though there's no one else here.
Yeah, he saw the seating charts, and like none of the other seats were taken, but he couldn't really afford the like floor seats, so he still went with the nosebleeds. But we're glad he's here.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Hey, can you tell me what your name is?
My name's Jeremiah.
Great, Jeremiah. I'm so glad you're here. You want to tell us a little about yourself? Or, I mean, this is kind of awkward, I know, but do you mind?
Oh, well, I don't really know that well, but I have a job in accounting.
Nice. All right, accounting. Yeah, my roommate works at a bank. You guys are probably friends.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
I heard he's a giant gross monster that flies out windows.
That is true, but only on full moons and Tuesdays. We recorded that episode on a Tuesday, unfortunately. So
on a Tuesday.
That's right. All right, Jeremiah,
I
we're gonna
apologize.
We're gonna do this. So if you just keep it quiet for the rest of the show, I'd
Okay,
appreciate
I'll
it.
be quiet. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. All right, cool. All right, well, this is Do Check This Out. This is where Noah and I give each other cool stuff to look at because we're friends and we like to do that. And so this week, or this 2 weeks, this time, I gave Noah something really cool to listen to, and that was Unleash the Archers. Is a really rad power metal Canadian band.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Also, Happy New Year to everybody, right? It's the new year.
Yeah.
It's 2018. We've made it.
We're coming to you from
The past.
So how's it going in the future?
Yeah, that's I guess that's how we should look at it. We should ask them.
Yeah.
Could you tweet at us all the cool things that happened?
Assuming we're still here.
Yeah, we hopefully it'll be fine. It'll be good.
Science fiction happens.
Mm-hmm. Science fiction happens?
Yeah, like speculative fiction.
I don't know if that...
It's like most like science fiction stories, at least from like the pre-50s, even leading into the 50s, is like most science fiction stuff was like all the bombs dropped, and this is like
like post-apocalypse
like years
stuff?
after. Yeah.
Okay.
Like Fallout and stuff like that. Like all that stuff came from like everyone's mutated monsters because of the all of the nuclear fallout, and also cyberpunk's happening sometimes.
Well, regardless, still tweet at us.
Yeah.
At Dude Check This.
If you can tweet at us with
Some
your gross
in there.
mutant hands.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it. Thank you so much from the future or from the past. whatever it is.
Or we might have all flying cars and everything's like the Minority Report future.
That would be cool.
I am so ready to push a button on my phone and the robots come pick me up at my house and whisk me off to wherever I need to go.
So you want like robot Ubers?
Yeah,
is what you want.
Pretty much, yeah.
As long as it's quick, right?
Yeah, as long as everyone's getting to where they need to go. Traffic really wouldn't be that much.
I just want teleportation. That's what I want.
Yeah, I feel like that's harder.
Yeah, I mean that's probably harder than robot cars, but I would still. That'd be nice. It'd be cool, right?
Yeah, I mean it'd be way more instant. But I just like the idea of like even if it's not like a car per se, like even if it was just
you
like,
want a robot to give you a hug.
Even if like the robot comes to my house, cradles me like a baby, and then just like jogs me wherever I need to go. That's what I meant, Kevin. That's what I meant by the robots come and whisk me away to wherever I need to go.
Like literally,
they literally sweep me off my feet,
yeah,
and take me to the grocery store.
Yeah, and then would they also do the shopping for you, or would you do the shopping?
No, I put him in the little robot parking spot outside.
Oh, so he's not like going to get other people. He's like your personal robot.
At least for like
the errand
when I rent him for the time. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. I'll get.
He's
Elon
his own
Musk.
robot. He's got his own life.
Yeah. Right. It's 2018 after all.
Exactly.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So I guess Happy New Year.
Quality content.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get into it to Unleash the Archers. To kind of set the scene, I'll give a little history about them. So Unleash the Archers, they are a Canadian power metal band, and they're led by the face woman or like the lead singer, whatever you want to call her. Her name is Brittany Hayes, aka Brittany Slays, because that's what everyone in the metal community calls her.
Well, that's also that's one of my favorite things about bands like that is the awesome frontman names, like your Brittany Slays. AFI has Davey Havoc.
Yeah.
Which is his name given to him by his mother and father, Mr. and Mrs. Havoc. And
I
think like the drummer
related to Cyclops.
Yeah. I think the drummer from Green Day, his name is Trey Cool.
Trey Cool.
Trey Cool.
He sounds like a cool guy.
I think the drummer from AFI actually, his name is Guy Normal.
We got Trey Cool, we got Guy Normal, we got Brittany Slays. Nice. Yeah, so she's awesome. They're from Victoria, Canada. And so in the band right now, they've had some people kind of come and go, but in the band right now is Brittany Hayes, or Brittany Slays, on vocals. There's Scott Buchanan on drums. He's been there since the beginning as well. Grant Truendell, he does guitars and the dirty vocals or the screaming, that kind of stuff.
Dirty vocals.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's.
Dirtiest vocals.
I didn't know what they called it, but that's what Wikipedia calls it.
Really?
Dirty vocals.
I guess that makes sense.
They're so dirty.
They're naughty vocals.
Yeah, they're just gross. They're covered in mud. And then there's Andrew Kingsley. He's on the guitar as well. They have two guitarists, and he also does some dirty vocals. And then Nico Wheatsworth. He's on the bass.
What a name!
Nico, and it's
Nico
Nikko. Nico.
Oh, okay.
So I guess Nico. I said Nico, but Nikko.
Nico sounds right. Like Nico sounds more like a name than Nico.
Mm-hmm. But we also have Brittany Slays. So
right, yeah, sure. But I don't know. Every time I think of Nico, I always think of the RICO spelling. Mm-hmm. But hey, it's 2017. Spell your name how you want, everybody.
Noah.
No, it is 2018. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. So the band was formed in 2007, and they released their first demo in 2008. Then they came out with Behold the Devastation, and then Demons of the Astro Wastes.
Wow.
And then they were picked up by Napalm Records in 2015, and they came out with Time Stands Still. And then in 2017, they came out with Apex, which is the album we'll be talking about. So this is power metal. You can tell by all of the silly names of Demons of the Astro Wastes. And I don't know if you like on Spotify you saw all their album covers.
I saw some of them, yeah.
Most of them have like worlds exploding.
Yeah.
Like Time Stands Still, there's like a giant like centaur or something like coming out of a blowing up planet. It's awesome.
That's like when in middle school or high school when we used to listen to Dragon Force, and that's pretty much all their album covers
it's
too.
Amazing.
It's just like there's a comet headed for Earth, or like what was it? I'm gonna butcher the album name, but it was like Infernal Rampage, or
I think that might be exactly
right.
Yeah,
or like Countdown to Apocalypse or whatever it is. Anyways, the album cover is just like a ticking time bomb to the apocalypse.
Yeah, and it's like 00, and then like the :01, so like 1 second left, and then everything's gonna blow.
I think that was like the Through the Fire and the Flames album, which was like the album to listen to.
Yeah, I mean,
melodic speed metal.
Yeah, and it's pretty much they're all the same. They have other songs, but they're all the same, and that's fine. So yeah, so power metal is kind of inherently silly, but it's the best kind of silly, and it's the kind of silly where everyone knows, right? Like so,
everyone's in on it.
Yeah, so for Noah, it's like Doom 2016 kind of silly.
Yeah,
we're like
you mean the video game?
Yeah,
Doom. Yeah.
So like like we know it's silly, you know it's silly. Let's just like beat around the bush and just enjoy how awesome this is.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best mindset to go into power metal with, just because if you try to like take it really seriously, like let's like really dive into these lyrics and really try to like understand the intellectual meaning behind it, you're missing the point of power metal. It's just
because I'd say like the albums that have come out so far this year, I've listened to like Kendrick Lamar's Damn and the Cloud Nothing's new album, which like those albums are like some of the lyrics are really introspectful and like have like a lot of craft behind like the music production and stuff like that. And then there's power metal by Unleash the Archers, which like listening to that other music is a very kind of more thoughtful experience listening to that music. This music's just really fun.
And that's awesome.
that you need to go into listening to it with that mindset.
Yeah, I'm just having a good time with it. It's awesome. Because I've like gone back and like preparing for this, I went back and really like listened to all the lyrics and looked at them all, and they're really ridiculous, like a lot of the time,
but like really straightforward too.
Oh yeah,
that's we'll get into it. But
yeah, it's awesome. I'll go a little bit into their previous work, and then we'll dive into Apex, because Apex is their album of 2017, the most recent one that they're touring with right now. And so when we get into that, that's kind of the one I gave Noah to listen to. I don't know if he's listened to any of the previous work.
No, I have not.
Okay. So I'll kind of go over just a little bit real quickly. Some of my favorite songs, that kind of stuff. Some of the previous work, they've been around for a while, since like 2007. So they've been playing together for 10 years. But their earlier work is, compared to Apex, you can really tell that they've matured over time. And they started off very much as kind of which is weird to say, but like a bland or like just another random power metal band that's trying really hard to be like super epic and awesome. But it kind of gets a little repetitive sometimes, or just seems a little... I keep going back to bland, which is strange for when they're yelling about like the end of the world and Mad Max like apocalypse stuff. But I've listened now. A good friend of mine, Patrick. No, our friend Patrick.
So Pat.
Hey Pat, you're listening. I know you are. I love you, Pat. He listens to a lot of metal, and so he's gotten me into it. So now I've kind of started really diving into it. And their first few albums were kind of bland. So their first one, Demons of the Astro Waste, was another concept album, and it was very okay. It was really like loosely tied together, not that great. And they had a lot more dirty vocals in it, and was a little more death metal than power metal. It kind of had that more of a feel, it was fine. But letting Brittany really like take charge was awesome, because she has such a killer voice.
Oh yeah.
And then letting the dirty vocals kind of assist her instead of trying to take over, I feel was better for the
they're
band.
accompanying the dirty vocal. Yeah. The main vocals.
And then they had Time Stands Still was their next real big album, and it was the first one with Napalm Records. And it was getting a little more towards Apex, with like more fast power metal and not as much death metal. But it still just didn't quite reach the maturity that Apex has. And don't get me wrong, some of the songs are still rad. Like they're still really cool, and it's really fun to just hear Brittany just go all out and just yell her head off and just scream.
Yeah, like hitting like the high falsettos and stuff like that.
Just because it's fun just to kind of take away from the more mature, or more, what's the word I want to look for? More, I guess mature would be it. I'm not sure. A more like sophisticated sound, which is strange to say about power metal, but kind of like finding what they want to do and how they do it, compared to more just like insane, really fast, high pitched squeals that she can do, which is awesome. So there's like their old stuff is still really great, especially like I have a few songs that I really, really like. Tonight We Ride, or Test Your Metal, or General of the Dark Army, or City of Iron. Those are songs from their old albums that are still like, I would go back and listen to those.
Those sound great.
Oh yeah, right? You're like, oh, they're so good. But overall, they like those if you listen to the other albums all the way through, it doesn't really compare to Apex and how like good it is, from, like top to bottom. So that's really it for all their intro stuff. That's kind of a brief synopsis of what they did before Apex. So let's get right into it. All right, so Apex is a concept album, so it kind of tells a story through all the songs, and each song is kind of a scene or a
chapter.
Yeah, a chapter in the story. Thank you. That's good. A chapter in the story, and it's about this immortal who sleeps under the mountain, and who, whenever he wakes up, he is bound to the will of the one who wakes him. And so he wakes up and goes and finds his master, and his master sends him on a quest, and he has to do the quest, and then he comes back, and then the master's like, all right, cool, you did it. And then that's kind of the gist of the story. And as we go through each song, we'll kind of go through exactly what each chapter or each song is. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of talking. Noah, give me your overall opinion or thoughts about the album as a whole, and then we'll kind of go break it down song by song.
Sorry, are you saying you want my hot take?
I want the
hot take. Hot take.
Oh, it's hot.
The dude, check this out, hot take.
Here it is. Noah's hot take coming at you. Noah?
Yes, my hot take, I would say this week is I really liked it.
Nice.
I liked it a lot.
All right.
Okay, thanks everyone.
That's
we'll
it.
See you
We did
next
it.
time.
Woo!
No, but yeah, it was. I liked it. It was really good. So like, I listened to it like through the first pass, and usually like the way I listen to music, I don't really get a full grasp of lyrics until like I go and read them, because when I listen to music, I tend to get lost in like the instrumental parts of the song and just kind of like let the vocals kind of be like an extra instrument that I'm like hearing the pitches, and it takes me a couple listens to actually like grind down into the lyrics and be like, oh, this is what the song's trying to say. So like I listened to it through the first pass, and yeah, like kind of like what you're saying, like it's power metal, so like it was all really cool, just that like each song kind of sounds similar.
Oh, for sure.
Like it's all just like all like ripping, soaring melodic guitar instrumentation and like a lot of double bass drums and stuff like that. So like I listened through it all, and it was really, really cool. But it wasn't until I like listened to it and then read the lyrics and fully understood like the story that I got like a even greater appreciation for the whole thing, because the story's really cool.
Oh yeah, it's rad.
Very epic. You can definitely tell that I believe that Brittany is the one, the front lady is the one who like writes the lyrics and the stories and stuff like
she
that.
did. She actually, I don't know if I told you about this. There's like a short YouTube series.
I actually watched that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
because I looked at the lyrics through the Genius lyrics service on the internet, and yeah, that they had a link to that YouTube series where she was explaining all the stuff about each track, which was very insightful. Yeah, it was really. I super liked it. It was a good time.
It's so fun.
It's metal.
Yeah. So, because I know we've listened to Dragon Force back in the day, but have you like actually gone back and do you listen to metal very often? I know I think you showed me Baby Metal, right?
Yeah.
They're pretty fun.
Baby Metal is kind of a different beast because it's like, crazy, like, melodic kind of black metal, but with Japanese pop idols as the front ladies. Yeah, I listened to Dragon Force back in the day. I listened to maybe some other metal stuff. Maybe you can't like necessarily remember the names off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, my multiple heads.
Multiple heads.
Yes,
that explains so much.
But yeah, Dragon Force is definitely the one that sticks out the most in my head. Actually, after listening to Unleash the Archers, I was kind of just picking around the similar artists page on Spotify. Yeah. And I remember Pat. Hey, Pat, again, what's up? He had mentioned Blind Guardian.
And he loves Blind Guardian.
And that came up in the similar artists on Spotify. And I just kind of dug into it and was just like, oh, all these albums are just about Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can get into this thing. So I listened to a couple tracks, but I've been spending most of my time with Unleash the Archers.
Did you listen? Did you find Wind Rose?
I did not find
that.
Wind
is
Rose.
A legitimate dwarf metal band. They sing.
Wow.
They have an album.
That's so specific,
right? You said Middle Earth, and so they sing about. So The Hobbit, the book, right?
Yeah.
They sing about as if they were the dwarves going and doing their dwarf stuff from The Hobbit, and they just sing songs about that as dwarves.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Is it like the actual adventures, or do they like make up their own adventures?
No, it's like the actual adventures-ish.
So it's like singing the perspective of the dwarves when they're like fighting Shelob or whatever.
Yeah. So there's one of the songs is, what is it called? I think Returning Home or something like that. And it's about them going through the forest. So there's like, I forget what it's called, the forest that has the elves in it, and there's all the spiders and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're singing about that, just going through the forest, doing dwarf stuff. Or another one where they're singing about just, we're going to return to Erebor. I think it's called To Erebor. And that's like the big mountain, the lonely mountain.
Yeah.
Their city underneath it is Erebor. And they're like, we're the dwarves. We're going to go back into Erebor, like protect the thief. The things. We're dwarves. It's awesome.
That sounds pretty great.
It's hilariously great. So if you like metal and you want, just Middle Earth metal, Wind Rose.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I listened to a little. Yeah, I listened to a little bit of Blind Guardian. Actually, I read Pitchfork, everybody, for my.
I have no idea what that is.
Hipster, pretentious hot takes on music. But Pitchfork is a reviewing site for music.
Oh, cool.
They're kind of renowned for being a little stuck up. Like they'll like review, like big pop albums and be like, oh, I give this a 3.7.
Gotcha.
Not enough, hot takes on expensive coffees. I don't.
Oh my gosh.
But by reading Pitchfork, I'll kind of discover some stuff I may have not necessarily known about. And I think a couple years ago, they one of the like top albums of that year they said was this band called Deaf Heaven.
Okay.
And they are a metal band that like they'll have like maybe like 6 to 8 tracks per album, but like each of the tracks is like 15 minutes long.
Oh my gosh. And
those are the lyrics. It's not necessarily like power metal where it's like all like really melodic and like soaring lyrics and stuff like that. The instrumentation is a lot more noisy, and then all of the lyrics are dirty lyrics that like I can't even understand while I'm listening to it through the first pass and have to look up lyrics later.
Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff is really cool. So I'm experienced in metal. Just I before this didn't really listen to a lot of power metal recreationally.
Yeah.
Oh, also Glory Hammer, I guess.
Oh yeah, we listened. Yeah, Glory Hammer's pretty great.
Yeah, you showed me Glory Hammer before
yeah.
showing me Unleash the Archers.
Yeah. Glory Hammer is a satirical power metal band, but which is also, they're a great power metal band by themselves, but they're also satirical in the sense of they just make fun of power metal, and it's amazing. Cool. So Unleash the Archers, Apex is really good. Some of my like things, I've listened to it a lot. So things that I've like really like about this album specifically is I like how, and she does it in most of her albums, but they do lots of like layered vocals of Brittany's like voice on like, especially when she's doing like these long drawn out notes. There's like a chord of just her, which I think not a lot of bands really do, because I guess you can't really do that in like on live shows. You can't have like yourself layered unless you already have it planned, but it makes for like super epic sounding chords and that kind of stuff as she's singing through stuff. I think that the story is really tight and consistent, where some concept albums kind of get lost in all these things. They want to do this big world building and all this stuff, and this story, for how crazy it is it's just focused on the Immortal and him just doing stuff.
It's extremely straightforward. Like even like listening to the lyrics, like all the lyrics are pretty much just like in like most of them are in the perspective of the Immortal, just like saying what he sees.
Yeah.
And like I think maybe like 2 of the other songs, like there's one in the perspective of the bad guy, and then one that's just kind of a like general narrator perspective.
Yeah. It is like really straightforward. So it's nice. It's cool to just follow kind of the story the first time you listen to it.
Yeah.
I really also like how in all power metal specifically, but this band does a really good job. Like every single song I end up like humming to myself. If I just listen to that song and then I put it away, you know, I'm at work or something, I put on that song, comes on.
Yeah.
Or just I'm in the car and that's the one song that comes on. I end up just humming that song just for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I definitely that all the melodies are really catchy. Like I think the first time I listened to it, I had the first track, Awakening, stuck in my head a lot. But then that day I texted you about Cleanse the Bloodlines.
So good.
I like that entire day I just had the main riff from Cleanse the Bloodlines stuck in my head like the entire day.
So I also think that it does like Noah did touch on it. All power metal is one of like the faults of power metal is that it's kind of similar. That you can only do speed and power and like giant lyrical whatever for so long, and like that's what they do. That's what power metal is.
Yeah.
But I do think that this does Apex and kind of all power metal kind of does fall into that. So if you listen to it straight, by the end of it, you're kind of getting a little sick and tired of the same type of feel.
I hope you like double bass pedals.
Yeah. But I do think that they do a good job still of the feel does kind of change a little bit through from just like Awakening or Shadow Guide and that kind of stuff of just really, really fast to False Walls or Apex.
Yeah.
They kind of have more of like a chug feel, or like it does kind of shift as it goes through of a different like style or feel of power metal.
Yeah, I'd say out of all of them, False Walls is definitely like the most stylistically different from like it stands out from the rest of that album.
So they do have like kind of things that feel and sound a little different, but at the end of the day, it's still all power metal. It's still there. And then I really thought that they had some sweet bass licks. In there.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's one in particular in Awakening.
Oh, at the very end of that, right before like the chorus kicks back in.
Yeah, at the very end of the guitar solo, and it just does a little bass picks. That just gets me so pumped every time I hear it.
Yeah, and so as I go back and listen to it, I find little things where he is doing something similar like that in different songs I didn't hear the very first time. That's just so their basses is really rad. Nico, you're the man.
What's up, Nico?
I know you're listening. You and Jeremiah up there hanging out. Yeah. Shout out to Jeremiah.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome, dude. All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
First one, Awakening.
I'll be sure to keep that in.
So Awakening, this is where we meet the Immortal. So we meet him. He's the main character of our story. He's waking up from under the mountain. And he's like, I sleep for thousands of years. I wake up. All the stars are changed. Everything's different. So he's kind of excited. He's like, oh, cool. Like, I'm awake again. Like, this is kind of cool. I'm going to go do something. But at the same time, there's kind of like this ominous tone of like, okay, no one wakes me up for good stuff. Like, I'm this immortal, super buff guy. No one wakes me up to do things that I want to do. They wake me up to do things they want me to do.
Yeah, but I get the understanding that he's at least had like benevolent masters in the past, like masters that like, needed him to like vanquish some great evil or something. But yeah, you can definitely tell like by the tone of the song. Like the tone of the song is like, it's very like, oh yes, like it's a really good introduction to the album of like this big epic adventure is about to happen, and there's a bit of joyousness to it because he finally gets to awaken from and come out of the mountain, but there's still like an underlying sense of dread of like, oh, like the thing that he's about to go do is probably not good. It's probably like his master, how the circumstances to which he has been awakened from the mountain, there might be like a sense of dread or doom coming in the coming adventure.
So so I guess we'll kind of go with each one, kind of you giving us your hot take of each song, and we'll kind of go through each song that way. So Awakening, first song of the album.
I liked it. It was it was definitely like I was kind of saying before, it's a really good introduction to the album. That like the first like it starts off with like I thought it was a little, I was taken aback at first because it starts and it has some like really like kind of retro wave deep synths.
Oh yeah.
To kick it off.
He's asleep, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good point. But I was just kind of listening to it, and I was just like, did I switch over to my synthwave playlist for so? What's going on?
And then the drop hits.
Then the drop hits. The double bass kicks in, and the ripping riffs from the guitar, and then Brittany just lets out that soaring, ascending vocal. It's just like that's super super great.
And that even right there, it starts with the layered vocals. It isn't just one vocal track. It's like 2, maybe 3 of her, but just like at different pitches going through.
Kind of get like a chorus going on, and that's super great. The chorus is really super catchy.
It's rad.
And yeah, that guitar solo with the bass picks at the end is just so good. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, because I think like as it is telling a story, right? This concept album is telling a story. And so I do think it's really cool that the chorus is it's all like in major chords and sounds very hopeful and cool as he's being like, oh, like I'm awake, like I'm going to come up and to do stuff and I never die, I'm immortal. But then the one time there are dirty vocals in this track is when it's the voice of his master calling him to him. So I think he says like, I don't remember exactly what he says, but he's like the dirty vocals like, come to me, like I have awoken you, like come find me.
Yeah.
And that's his master talking to him, which we later find out is the Matriarch, who's this like badass like crazy
witch
woman.
Queen.
Yeah. So and it's that kind of ominous thing of like, and then when that's going on, it doesn't sound nearly as hopeful or as happy. It sounds like way more sinister while those dirty vocals are going on, representing kind of the doom that is calling him to like go do all the evil stuff he has to do.
Yeah.
It's rad.
Awakening's super great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah. I think like maybe through the first pass on the album, I think it might have been my favorite track, which is kind of weird because it was the first one. But that one like definitely nailed the like, yep, this is definitely power metal. It sounds like the most power metal through the first pass probably, but there's definitely a track coming later that was this was ended up being my favorite.
This is definitely on one of my first passes. It was, but the more I listen to the album, I still like it a whole bunch.
Definitely.
It's really good. But I think some of the other ones I've kind of ended up liking more than this one is. All right, moving on.
Yeah,
Shadow Guide.
All
right, yeah, hot take.
This one's really cool too. So the first time I listened to it, I assumed the Shadow Guide was like some kind of like wraith, or like just like like hooded like ghostly figure that like came to him and was like showing the Immortal the way to the Matriarch. But then I read into the lyrics and then that YouTube video with Brittany, and apparently the shadow it's way more literal than I was thinking.
Yep.
It's literally just it's a falcon that the Matriarch has sent to go get the Immortal, and it's Shadow Guide because the Immortal is following the shadow cast by the falcon.
Yeah. Yep.
Which like also like that's can also be really ominous because like usually like if it was like a very benevolent king or something who was awoken the Immortal to like go slay some great evil, they'd probably have like a emissary or like some sort of like like collection of knights coming to escort him to receive his commands. But the Matriarch doesn't give a shit.
No,
so she just goes sense like no one's waiting for him. She just so goes sense a falcon and is like, I assume he'll know to follow this guy and he'll come to me, whatever.
Yeah, because at the start of the song he says he's like, I've been walking around aimlessly for weeks. Like what the hell? Like I've been just like mindlessly walking around this world I don't understand. And he's like, I have no idea to go. Normally they send like a person to come like show me the way, and then he's like, okay, this like hawk is, I guess I'll follow this guy.
Yeah.
And like I think in the chorus it says like, you lead me to horrors.
Yeah.
It's like one of the lines like, oh Shadow God, you lead me to horrors. Oh you. I was like, geez, okay. Oh.
Probably lead me to the bad stuff. But yeah, this one like Awakening has like a super ripping chorus, like also very very power metal, especially with something like she says Shadow Guide a lot, but that just in my mind envisions just like really awesome like medieval power fantasy kind of stuff that's just very, very much in line with this genre.
Oh yeah, I will say that I think this is one of the weaker songs of the whole album.
Yeah, it's pretty repetitious.
Yeah, and just coming after Awakening, where Awakening was so good, so they kind of like checked that box, and then they're like, all right, let's just do it again. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, like I get that. And so I guess it's like kind of continuing with their story that they had planned. And don't get me wrong, it's a great song. All the songs on this album are great, but I think it is one of the weaker songs compared to some of the other ones that are just so good. All right. The Matriarch.
Yeah.
Hot take?
The Matriarch, this is like one of the only songs that isn't in the narration of the Immortal.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's more of a just like kind of more general narrator.
Yeah, so I guess it's either just a narrator, or how I like to imagine it is the Immortal's kind of sitting around. Like, he's been traveling to go follow the Shadow Guy. So he's sitting there with a bunch of just rando villager people. Mm-hmm. And they're like sitting around the fire, and he's like, all right, let me tell you this thing. Like, the Matriarch is crazy. Like, this woman, she's like the most badass. She like shoots fire out of her fingertips, and she like can like look at you and like make you tear yourself apart. She's insane. And so the song is all about the Matriarch and how badass she is, and how she's just like, freedom doesn't exist. She's the man. Like, she controls anything. Like, you can't resist her. She's just going to murder everybody.
Yeah. It's all just setting up how crazy, super evil and powerful she is.
Yeah. And turns out she's the one who woke up the Immortal.
Yeah.
So she's the one calling.
Master.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought this song was really good. I like this song more than I like Shadow Guide.
Yeah, it maybe has a little bit more variety in it, especially because like the chorus is really good. It has like a really good drop into like the main part of the chorus, but then also like there's a part at the end where it's all the like chanting with the throat singing.
Oh yeah,
it's like really, really cool with the dirty vocals. Yeah, it's a very good kind of like, not as like joyful and victorious because it's setting up this like horrible bad guy person, but yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and so I think this isn't the most metal of all the songs, because that's probably the next song, Cleanse the Bloodlines. But this one definitely is more metal than the other ones, where it's talking about like this woman, like this lady, she's like, oh yeah, she like spits fire out of her fingertips, and she like literally makes you claw yourself apart.
Yeah,
and
it has some of the best metal imagery.
Yeah, it's rad
in the album. Like the stuff is just like, yeah, that's so metal.
Yeah, and it does. This is like one of the first songs that it just lets like Britney just freaking goes and just like goes crazy with her voice, singing crazy stuff, and she is so good. Like, I really think that her voice like makes Unleash the Archers and this album really what they are, because she, like, I don't know if she was classically trained or what have you, but she's awesome, because all of her vocals are like freaking rad. All right, anything else on that song, or anything we've missed so far before we get to like probably the climax of the whole album,
or at least like our highest opinion of the album?
Oh yeah, it's the best one.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good on the Matriarch.
All right, cool. All right. Cleanse the Bloodlines.
Cleanse the Bloodlines.
Cleanse them. Yeah.
It's so good.
So this song it's talking about, so the Immortal finally gets to the Matriarch, and she's like, all right, you're here. Cool. Let me tell you what I've woken you up for. I need you to go find all my sons. There's 4 of them. She doesn't say that, but there's 4 of them. I need you to bring them to me so I can slit their throats and drink from their skulls before the planets align, so I can also become immortal, but not the cursed bad immortal you are, the rad immortal I do whatever I want that I will become.
Just like straight up just eternal life.
Yeah, so that's what I need you to do.
So her reign can last forever.
Yeah. And so it's awesome. And so there is a music video.
Yes, there is.
For this. Did you watch it the first time with the music video?
Yeah, I made sure to listen to, I think I listened to like maybe the first 2 tracks on the album, but then I remembered that you wanted me to specifically to listen to Cleanse the Bloodlines for the first time while watching the music video. And yeah, it delivered, I would say.
All right, hot take?
So the music video, it's like them all in like hoods, and they're all like in the snow and whatnot. But like the music video is supposed to be like, yeah, like the main point of the song Cleanse the Bloodlines is like the Matriarch is it's in the perspective of the Matriarch giving her orders, her like mission statement to the Immortal.
Yeah.
And the music video kind of follows like like that moment, but then also like a collection of moments of like the Immortal bringing her like the sacrifices of her sons. And it's mostly just like a lot of like, you know, the Matriarch, who's like an old lady in a robe, you know, like stabbing dudes. And then like a lot of the band Unleash the Archers, also in robes, like either like playing instruments and just like rocking the hell out, or just like standing around and looking all moody and
in front of a large bonfire.
And that's actually, I think we may have alluded to this when we were like texting about it earlier. But like the best part of that music video is when who I assume is the Immortal, it's like a big buff guy with a beard, is like standing in front of the Matriarch, and then it like cuts to like medium like headshots of the rest of the band as they're standing there all like brooding in their hoods, and like the big buff, like, you know, like power fantasy dude looks like he belongs there in this music video, and then the rest of everyone is just like, this looks like a guy who really likes metal, like power metal, in a robe that they brought out to the shoot. The Immortal has like, you know, like a really like buff, nice beard and like muscles and stuff. And the rest of the band has like, you know, really long hair, and like they have facial hair, but it's the kind of like thin facial hair and, you know, that you would see in today's society, I guess. What I'm trying to say is I wouldn't look cool in a robe like that. I would probably look as, you know, weird and out of place as these guys do in a robe and out in the, you know, middle of cold nowhere.
Yeah, Canada somewhere.
But Brittany actually looks really cool with her face paint done up and stuff like that.
Brittany looks rad.
Out of everyone, she probably looks like she belongs the most, especially because she gets to hang out with the Falcon most of the video.
Yeah, I told you about this earlier, but I really just, my best image is, so this is like super awesome. I love, because I watched Cleanse the Bloodlines first, and I had no context. I was like watching the video, and Patrick actually gave it to me. Hey Pat, he's like, hey, here is like, I want like, oh, listen, look at this video. This video is really awesome. So I was watching it, and I had no context for what's going on. I didn't know it was a concept album. I thought it was just a song that this metal band put together, and then I was just like, what is happening? Like, why are they murdering everybody? Like, what is going on? And so it was just, I really liked just how like ridiculous metal is compared to, like, you know, like the first video that comes to mind is, so let's say like Justin Bieber, right? He has Sorry, which is like this like female dance team doing this really cool dance.
Very
and he's
pop.
like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, I'm too late to say sorry, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, that's like a really nice song about relationships. And the music video is all these women dancing. That's really cool. And then Cleanse the Bloodlines is like, oh yeah, we're just gonna murder everybody. There's a hawk here. We're in the snow. I'm like, what?
Here with my hawk friend.
Yeah.
We're gonna murder sacrifices.
Yeah, and so I just really want to see the behind the scenes of them like in the van, like all cramped up, driving out to the spot where they filmed this. Or like, what do the film crew look like, right? So like if they turn the camera around, there's like a guy in like a North Face jacket just hanging out with some
baseball cap.
Yeah, with some earmuffs and a baseball cap.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I want to see. Like them, like when they're like going home, they're walking back into their house in their robes and stuff and their face paint, and they're like sitting down in front of the TV. That's what I want to see.
So you want to see like that Rick and Morty episode where it's like the interdimensional commercials and the guy like selling all the doors.
Yeah.
And then like it looks like the commercial ends and he just gets in his car and drives home.
Yep.
And then the commercial is still going when he's like making a sandwich.
Yeah, I want that, except a music video of Cleanse the Bloodline. That's what I want. But it's definitely, besides all that silliness, it's definitely like the biggest song on the album.
Oh yeah, it's like super the most epic.
Yeah, for sure.
And musically, it stands out, I feel, because it has a super like, the chorus or like the main riff, I guess, instrumentally with the guitars isn't as like soaring or melodic. It's very crunchy.
Yeah,
it's just like that. Like it's a really heavy repeated riff that like, it makes me bang my head every time I listen to it. So and I imagine like the band, because like most, like, you know, majority of the band has like really long hair, and I imagine them doing the like the head banging where they're like whipping their head around, and like, you know, their hair is like swinging around. I imagine that as they're playing this song.
Yeah, so good. So yeah, it's definitely that. It has this huge epic feel. It's kind of like almost the climax of the whole album, even though I don't know if it technically is.
No,
but it's the one where it's like, oh shit, like this is.
It's the one that's like it feels very important because kind of the whole axis of the story is told through this song.
Yeah,
like basically like this song sets up the next 4 songs in the album, and like the entire purpose of pretty much the rest of the album.
Yeah, and I do think again in this song, similar to Awakening, all of the Matriarch, whenever the Matriarch, I guess not whenever the Matriarch is speaking, but a lot of time when the Matriarch speaks, it's the dirty vocals, which makes the Matriarch just seem super badass because they don't do a lot of dirty vocals, but when they do, it's for like very specific points. Yeah. And so they do that. They do it in this song. They do it in Awakening, and it just makes the Matriarch seem like the most badass, like crazy, gonna murder everybody type person. And so I think the dirty vocals in this, compared to some of their earlier work, I mean, this might just be my personal preference as well, but I think it adds so much more when they do like kind of doing more with less, because they don't do it a whole bunch. So when they do it, like for the story and just for the song, it makes it like much more epic and means a whole lot more when they do the dirty vocals. And the music video is just so awesome. I love it so much.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, this also has one of my favorite lines, and like I have like a few lines that I really like throughout the album. And this one, whenever I hear it, I always end up singing along to it. I don't know why I like it so much, but when she's saying, she says, "The altars wait in silence and effigy, soon their purpose divined." That's just a really cool line.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's very high fantasy.
Yeah, it's rad. So, Britney slays, freaking crushed it. All right, anything else on that one?
I think I'm good.
All right. The Coward's Way. Next song. All right. This one is the Immortal goes to find the first son. So he's been sent out. He's like, all right. She's like, go find my son. Bring him back to me. I got to kill him. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. Oh, and also in that last song, she promised to release him from...
Oh, right. Yeah. If he completes his mission, then she will give him the sweet release of death and free him from his curse.
Yeah. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah.
And so in The Coward's Way, he goes to find the first son. The first son is a politician in some big city, high up, maybe a president or some like senator or something. I don't know, some politician who has lied, cheated, and stole his way up to his position of power. And so the Immortal's like, all right, I don't feel bad about bringing you to your mom. You deserve to die. And you can beg and cry all you want, but I'm going to drag you out on your knees.
He's like trying to pay off the Immortal. He'd be like, I can give you money. But the Immortal doesn't need stuff like that.
Yeah. So, all right. Hot take?
This one kind of goes back to being like very power metal-y.
Yeah.
It's still really cool. Actually, this one kind of goes into kind of a punk-ish territory, especially toward like the final bridge. It does some whoa-oh-ohs.
It does do the whoa-oh-ohs.
The chanting whoa-oh-ohs, which, don't get me wrong, I like me a good whoa-oh-oh. Yeah, that kind of was like weirdly a part that stood out to me in the song. One thing I liked about this song and the next 4 songs, or I guess next 3 songs, these 4 songs, is it does a really good job at describing the sons that he's going after. And yeah, this one was really, really good, I think.
Yeah. So I also just really like how brutal the Immortal is. Or he's just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna like you can kick and scream all you want, but I'm just gonna drag you to your mom, and she's gonna murder you, and I'm gonna watch. Where he's just like so resolute and brutal about it, because he's like, oh, like you're a bad, evil person, so I don't care about you.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that he feels good about it, but he definitely doesn't feel bad.
Yeah, and this is the first time that the Immortal gets dirty vocals, which I'm gonna go. I like that. I thought that was a really cool touch that they did. And so this is the first time that he gets to like speak in those dirty vocals. And it's just like, he's like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to like, let's go. Like, you can't bribe me. Like, let's go. Come on. Like, I got time to keep. Like, you are just another thing that I got to do.
Planets are aligning, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah. And so this is actually one of my favorite songs. This is one I've gone back to a lot. I think how the guitar like it goes up and down a whole bunch is really cool. And at the very, very end, the big like whoa that she does at the very end of this song is just so awesome. It's so epic and crazy. It's just at the very end, so it's just like wow. I'm like, yep, all right, Brittany.
Good way to send it out.
I'm about that.
Very
it's
power
awesome.
metal.
Yeah. All right, next song, False Walls.
Yeah. This one's an interesting one. So this one, I like the idea of the sun that this introduces. It's like the like cult leader sorcerer.
Yeah.
I guess the idea is that like he has like his, followers who he has kind of like spelled into a stupor to like follow whatever he says, and he can kind of like cloud your mind with words.
He's a 20th level bard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's kind of a soothsayer. And I like how like the Immortal just like it just makes it seem like the Immortal just kind of busts in and is like not affected at all by like the attempts for the sun to cloud his mind. This one's just interesting because this one has a much more deliberate, steady pace than the other songs do. Like there's a lot less double bass pedal in this one. I don't want to say less power metal. This actually, I guess you would say it sounds a little more straight up heavy metal than power metal.
Or it's also close to like symphonic metal.
Yeah.
Is how I guess that's a thing, I think.
Like it sounds closer to Black Sabbath than like a Dragon Force or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's what I like about power metal is all the crazy super fast stuff. Yeah. So this probably isn't one of my favorite songs off the album.
Yeah, when I was like returning to the album to listen to it after I like did the deep dive, this was one that I tended to skip.
Yeah.
If I was listening to it through it all in one go.
Yeah, but I definitely think it is good and like almost necessary to have if you're going to listen to the album from start to finish. You don't want just crazy power metal the whole way through. Yeah. Like this is a real nice kind of break.
It's good for pacing.
Yeah, in the middle of the album.
So nice like breather.
Yeah, so if you're like going to their concert and they're playing this whole set list, it's nice to have kind of a different feel throughout the album.
Yeah.
It also has like one of the really good guitar solos near the end. I think this one has one of like because I would go back and listen to it. I think this guitar solo, because it's so different than all the other ones, like how that fits into this song is super rad.
So, yeah, I think even in my notes, it just I have a point that says nice solo.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good one.
Because I think for most of the songs somewhere I say like sick guitar solo or rad solo. This one's just nice solo because this is like the 6th song in the album. And duh, it's a power metal song. It has a rad solo, kind of a given, but that doesn't make it any less cool.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's one of the most different songs on the album. And I think it's very necessary for the album as a whole. But overall, if you're looking for a power metal song, this probably isn't the one that you're going to go back to.
Yeah.
All right. 10,000 Against 1.
This one's so rad. I'd say probably this is like my 3rd favorite song on the album.
What's your second favorite?
Probably Awakening.
Okay.
I'd say it goes like Cleanse the Bloodlines, Awakening, and this one. This one is actually pretty similar to Cleanse the Bloodlines, and then it also has like a really crunchy main chorus with like a repeated heavy guitar riff, and it's just like a super sick like war anthem chant.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like maybe the chorus can like the lyrics in the chorus can maybe get a little repetitive. Just a lot of saying 10,000 against 1 over and over again.
Yeah, kind of like Shadow Guide a little bit.
Yeah, but this one, so like the son that he's going to get in this one is like a cowardly army general who is just like is sending Zach Brannigan style just wave after wave of his own men to try and stop the Immortal, but the Immortal's just like, hey, I cannot be killed in battle, so I'm just going to like mow through all these guys to get to you.
Yeah, and that's like, again, this one probably has my favorite lines in the whole album.
Yeah.
So it's to this he's saying like the line is, try as you might to defeat me, I come as the wind. And I was like, hell yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like just literally blowing through all these people. And then like almost right after that, she says, boy, I know you're there. And I'm like, oh damn. Like she just called this dude a boy. Like, oh, it's go, like he's done. It's over. Like throwing the towel. Like let's wrap this thing up. Like let's go.
I've lived 4 centuries. You're but a boy.
Yeah. So I think like those are some of my few things that really kind of continue to paint this picture of the Immortal and like the world that he lives in, where this Immortal's like, all right, like, yeah, like stop doing this. Like, even at the beginning of the song, he like goes through the camp a little bit and he's like, hey, like, don't fight. Like, he's like, he's only doing this for himself. Like, why would you fight? I only need to get him. I don't have to kill you guys. And
if
then
you
like,
follow his orders, you are going to die because I'm going to murder you.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, fine. Like, I guess I'll just kill everybody. And so again, like the Immortal feels no remorse for like bringing this guy to the Matriarch to be killed, because he's like, oh yeah, you just like literally threw 10,000 people to their deaths when you knew that I was going to kill them.
Yeah.
So like, you're the worst.
You knew that it was pointless.
Yeah. Like, I think this song has some like the most, like the lyrics themselves are like really, really cool to listen to. And like, as you listen to the lyrics themselves, they're like really, really nicely written. So even for the metal, they would almost be beautiful if they weren't so metal. That's what it really boils down to. Yeah, and this song also lets the Immortal in on some of the dirty vocals again, as he's like coming to get like the third son, I guess. Really just showing how badass he is, because the Immortal's a badass. All right, Earth and Ashes.
Earth and Ashes. So this is the fourth son. Mm-hmm. This one, it's like really cool. It's still very metal, but like it's a little melancholy, a little sad. Because I guess like the main thing with this song is that like he comes to the fourth son, and all the other sons were like, kind of like pretty evil, avarice, seeking dudes that had like all this power and all these, like people blindly following them. And this one, like, you can tell that he like used to be an evil dude, but has since kind of recognized the evil ways of his, mother and his, his brothers, and has like he's like married a wife and has kids and is like secluded himself up in the mountains, but kind of always knew that his mom would send someone to come get him one day, because he knew about the sacrificing ritual. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it is kind of sad. And this is the first time there's an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
It starts off with an acoustic guitar.
It definitely stands out, because like I remember like hearing it for the first time and going like, whoa, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
And acoustic intro.
Yeah, so like totally sets a mood like, hey, this is totally different than everything before.
Yeah.
So I think like the acoustic guitar is really cool, and then the big hit right after the acoustic guitar feels really awesome. It's so good. And so the solo in the song as well is also like kind of almost mournful, especially like when you pair it with like the lyrics and what's going on. I think they do a good job of making different feelings, or like trying to show how the Immortal feels through the music as well as the lyrics, especially in the song.
I especially like, because you were talking about how they use like dirty vocals for like different characters.
Yeah.
And this one, like they just straight up have like another like vocalist, mm-hmm. like not dirty vocals, just like, I assume it's probably the guy who does dirty vocals, but he comes in and does like actual, just like straight up normal singing vocals to voice this particular son.
Yeah. I don't know who it is. It's probably Grant. Maybe. I don't know. He's the first one on Wikipedia. I don't know. It's not Nico, so I know that much. No, he doesn't do the singing.
But that was really cool.
Yeah, and so I think kind of it shows and gives this idea of like, hey, this guy isn't this like crazy murder dude like the Matriarch or like the Immortal when he's pissed. This is just like a guy. Like he's just a guy and he doesn't want to go, but he also like doesn't fight. Like he's the one guy that doesn't fight the Immortal. He's like, please don't take me. But at the same time, he's like, I know eventually this is going to happen.
Yeah. I'd rather live a peaceful life, but I know I can't beat you. I know I can't fight you, so I just have to go.
Yeah, so it's like, please just go away, because I know I can't win. So if you could just go away, that'd be ideal. And then Immortal's like, I can't. And even Immortal, he's like, I want to. Immortal doesn't want to bring this guy in, but he has to, because he's bound by the will. He doesn't have a choice in what he does. Yeah, and I think this song is another good kind of break from the mold from the other songs with the acoustic guitar and that kind of stuff. I mean, it eventually gets back into the power metal. Power metal never really goes away. It's in all the songs. But at least like the acoustic guitar comes in and kind of gives this nice break, again, kind of breaking up the pace of the album if you listen to it all the way through, as I guess you should or could, because it is a concept album.
Right.
All right. Call Me Immortal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this song, Immortal comes back completing his task, and the Matriarch's like, sweet, I'm immortal now. I did tell you that I was gonna let you go, but you're really you did a good job. Yeah. You did a nice job.
Turns out you're useful.
So go back to your mountain. I'll wake you up whenever. And the Immortal's like, yeah, okay, I saw that coming. Like I've lived forever. Like you're not gonna pull a fast one on me. Like I know what's gonna happen. And so he just heads back to his mountain, and it's just kind of a sad song, and that's what the song's about.
It is really cool, like the lyrics describing like the ritual happening, and yeah, she gets all the power and whatnot. But yeah, and it still feels really kind of powerful still, because call me immortal is a really kind of power fantasy cool thing to say.
Yeah. And again, this is probably one of the songs that I think is the weakest of the albums. I think this is the weakest song overall, just because you've gone through so much like really awesome stuff, and then you get to this one and it's kind of just more the same. And so I don't know if they needed for them to say like, hey, look, we did it, it's over, like to continue their story and how they wanted to break their story up. But I do think that overall that this is probably one of the weaker songs. I don't think there's really anything that really stands out about this song compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah.
So it's still good. Don't get me wrong. Like all the songs are still really good, but compared to like Cleanse the Bloodlines or Awakening,
some are just better.
Yeah. I just think this one is a little bland compared to some of the other ones.
Just very general power metal fare.
Yeah. All right, last song, Apex.
Yeah, this one is really interesting and a really good send off for the.
Album.
I really like. I have it here in my notes. I really like the kind of like echoey guitar stuff happening at the very beginning, like almost like a little bit of a proggy-ish, like, or like even like a shoegaze kind of like weird, like really echoey electric guitar stuff, and then it leads into like the acoustic chorus, the fellow mountain stuff. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that the song like breaks itself up kind of into like multiple parts. There's like that, like the intro, and then it goes into the acoustic. And then there's like the first verse and the chorus and all that stuff, like kind of the meat of the song. And then there's the very outro where it goes back to like real light guitar and kind of like Brittany's voice just kind of seeming to like float away as the Immortal falls back asleep. Because the Immortal in this song is just like, all right, cool. Like, all right, Mountain, like I'm back. That really sucked. I hated doing that. But we're back now. So I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm just going to sleep for eternity until someone wakes me up again.
Yeah, but he also like that's the thing is that like he knows that like in him being awakened, and especially now that he's going to have to do bad stuff. When he goes back, he finds relief in going back to the mountain, because when he goes to the mountain, he gets to sleep, and in his dreams he gets to soar free and do whatever he wants. And I think like even and I think that's even like how Brittany says it is that like that's his apex is the solace he finds in his dreams. But then like at the very end of the song, it has like kind of the foreboding, maybe a setup for a sequel or whatever Brittany has in mind of like that something is coming. Something's coming for him.
Yeah. So I think this one also, the transition from the acoustic back into the metal is another really good transition that feels really, really solid.
Just like when the metal drops.
Oh, yeah.
Drops good.
And in this song, this song's like 8 minutes long or something ridiculous.
Yeah, this one's a really long epic.
And they just give the guitar a lot of time just to breathe and play. And like, all right, like let's just let the guitar be awesome, let the power metal be metal, and just let it do its thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. That they give the guitar a lot of time instead of trying to fill in with all like what's going to happen. They're like, all right, we've told our story, we know what we're about, and they just kind of send it off. Yeah. So that's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle. It's the album. Any final thoughts that you have about it? Any kind of overarching themes that you'd like, or did I get you into power metal now? Are you now a fan?
Yeah, kind of. I listened to this and like, I kind of passively listened to power metal, thought it was, really silly, which it is.
Really silly. It's
but
the best kind of silly.
But like I've noticed like you weirdly get into it this year, I guess mostly through, recommendations through Pat.
Hi Pat.
But yeah, like after listening to that and then like kind of going around similar artist stuff, have a newfound appreciation for power metal.
Yeah.
And it's super fun to listen to, especially, you know, if you're like trying to hype yourself up before a game of D&D or like any other sort of fantasy themed gaming or whatever.
Or working out.
Yeah. Also really good for working out. Really good. I assume it's like really, really good for cardio.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up a really fast pace.
Yeah. I did the turkey trot.
The turkey trot.
Yeah. It's like a 10K that you do like on Thanksgiving Day.
Are you only allowed to do that in November?
To trot like a turkey?
Yeah.
I mean, I can trot like a turkey whenever I want. It's 2018.
I mean, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. And I listened to this album just straight. Like, that's what I listened to the whole time when I was running.
No, I think like I think the first time I listened to it in the car, which like
sounds dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I really, really like listening to like heavy rock metal stuff in the car, just because like I can turn it up really loud and feel the vibrations of the speakers instead of, you know, doing that in my ears and potentially hurting myself. But yeah, I love doing metal listening in the car mostly.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
It's super rad. There's a bunch of other metal stuff out there. I know like Patrick knows a bunch of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into more Blind Guardian.
Yeah, I actually haven't listened to a lot of Blind Guardian. That's something I really should do, is listen to some of them. Pat, I'm sorry that I haven't listened to Blind Guardian. I know that upsets you. But
we're making up for it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. I'll get to it eventually. So, all right. That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. So, last thing, on a scale of 1 to Jack Black, how much did you like Unleash the Archers?
A scale from 1 to Jack Black.
Jack Black's pretty metal, right?
I'd say it's a what's the main character from Brutal Legend? What's his name?
Oh, you're right. He's voiced by Jack
exactly.
Black. I don't know. Some roadie dude. I don't know his name.
It's I'd say it's a roadie dude from Brutal Metal, because that character's cool.
Yeah, and he likes metal stuff.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Nice.
Metal! It comes from hell!
All right, so that's all I got. What
Okay.
do you have for me?
All right. For my thing, so we've been trying to keep up with the happy. I would say what I have for you is very vibrant and colorful, but it's maybe a little more brutal. Then I'm not going to say it's sad. We're not going to get existential and, you know, like very emotional about what I'm going to recommend you next, like we have with some of the previous stuff. But what I'm going to recommend you is one of my very favorite video games.
Oh.
Because you've played some of my favorite video games. You've tried your hand at like Eco and Resident Evil 4 and stuff like that. I think this is one of the only like games that I know are in like my top 5 of all time that you haven't tried yet.
Okay.
What I'm going to recommend you is the very heavy, fast-paced action game called Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami. Okay.
Hotline Miami. Have you heard of Hotline Miami?
I have heard of it, but I don't really know. I mean, it's a video game that's just like, I feel like is very popular or is successful or cult classic or something. So I have relation of like just through the ether and the internet. I'm like, oh yeah, Hotline Miami. That's a game that is good, but I don't really know much about it.
It came out like kind of like post, would say like Braid or Fez, kind of like it was definitely still like kind of, I would say maybe in between like the early stages of like downloadable indie games and where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
It's had a sequel. The sequel came out like 2 years ago. Yeah, Hotline Miami. It's almost feels like a game that's like tailored for my interests, like personally, because it takes place in the 1980s.
Okay.
So it has like very colorful, vibrant neon aesthetics. The entire soundtrack is like all synthwave. It's actually like curated synthwave artists that they got for the soundtrack.
Nice.
And it's actually one of the first, like, playing Hotline Miami really got me into synthwave.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all, so you play as the main character is kind of a nameless murder dude who like at the beginning of each level you get a phone call. And you get kind of vague instructions from a nameless source telling you to go and infiltrate these kind of coke house, you know, like places run by the Russian mafia, and you just go and murder everyone.
Oh my gosh.
It's all like top down action, either like hitting dudes with like baseball bats or pipes, or gunning them down with like assault rifles or shotguns.
Okay.
It's all very fast paced and frenetic. It's actually one of my favorite game mechanics in like kind of a Super Meat Boy, where you have like you see the level, and part of like figuring out the level is executing, because you can see and you try again, and you know it's all trial and error.
Yeah,
it's actually, for your context, you might actually liken it to something like Super Hot.
Okay.
Where you like all the enemy placements are set.
Yeah.
What it's your job to do is to go through the level and figure out what the best path is to murder everyone without taking a hit, because it's single hit and you're dead.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So and every time you die, you just push a button and you're right back in it.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's one of my favorite parts about it, and just like the whole vibe and the aesthetic and the soundtrack, it all just melds perfectly and is one of my favorite games. But,
cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, I'm stoked. That sounds awesome.
It's also really short. Like I think an average playthrough of it might take like 4 to 5 hours. I played through it recently, like last month. I'll probably play through it again before I talk to you about it. It took me like 3 hours.
Okay,
but yeah.
So I could like sit down in a day and just beat the game.
Oh yeah, probably like 2 or 3 settings, or like one sitting if you're planning on like doing it that day, or like 2 or 3 sittings.
Yeah. Is it a game like similar to Limbo? Should I play this game all the way through in one sitting, or does it not really matter?
I'd say maybe not, because unlike like with Limbo, it's you like kind of hitting your head against the wall trying to figure out puzzles. This one, there's a lot more. It's kind of puzzly in figuring out all the enemy layouts, but it's also, it can get frustrating just like on execution.
Gotcha.
So if you find yourself getting frustrated, you may need to just like set the controller down and walk away from it for a little bit.
Okay.
Before attempting again.
I guess I don't know how long did it take you to beat Hyper Light Drifter?
Hyper Light Drifter took me.
I feel like that's probably like what 10 hours or so. Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of similar to that, I guess, but that's a little bit more execution than this one might be.
I'd say it's about the same.
Okay.
It's a definitely like, so that's the thing, is that like it's on Steam, like you can access it through my Steam library.
Yeah.
On computer, I think there's a good amount of players that prefer to play it mouse and keyboard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's like a top-down thing, but I prefer to play it like through a gamepad, kind of like you would a twin-stick shooter. Especially because a lot of the aiming with the guns is really dependent on you landing that hit. Because if you miss, that's just an opportunity for them to shoot you and you're dead.
Yeah.
With the gamepad, there's a button you can hit to lock on to an enemy. And
that's helpful.
Yeah, and just like you're pretty much guaranteed to hit unless they strafe out of the way. But yeah, Hotline Miami, I very much recommend it, and we'll talk about that next time.
Right. Cool. All right. Well, hey, thanks for sticking with us, Jeremiah. Appreciate you up there. Thanks for sticking around with us the whole time.
It's a great show.
Yeah. Thanks. We appreciate you. All right. Cool. Well, that's all we got for this week. Check back 2 weeks from now, and we'll see you then.
Check back 2 weeks from now, and dude, check this out.
Check it. Check it out.
Check it out.
Woo. Thanks, Jeremiah. All right, we're done.
All right. Bye, everybody. Yeah.
Love you, Pat.
Love you, Pat. Love you, baby boy.
Nice.